and because he nominated 3 Supreme Court justices that actually believe the Constitution means what it says.
Wee-hoo. When it comes to chicks, anyways. Yeah, okay. So now Jesus Christ, they're playing the song right from the opening. Means he's going to be wandering around the stage. Hello, hi, hello, what are you? There you go. Okay, thank you. Just walk around. Clap, 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 clap. Thank you. Squirt, squirt. Hey, can I walkie, thump, limp. Okay. By the way, I don't want anybody to be worried. Like, hey, isn't this a presidential candidate at an NRA event? Isn't he worried about, guns being in the place? There are no guns allowed. There are no guns allowed in this arena. There are no guns allowed in the building. The only people carrying guns are his Secret Service guys. Hey, thanks so much. There you go. What's going on? Hello. Good to see you. Good job, guys. Fantastic job. Fantastic. There he goes. And I'll just stand here. Wait, thank you. Wait for the song to be over. Just squirt, squirt, squirt. There you go. Just jerk you right off on my tie. That's what I do. And thank God there's no guns in here. No guns at all. Not a single NRA event. And one of the greatest powers that I have is that I can make sure that the NRA can't bring guns someplace. That's, you. What's up, Tits? Tits McGee. Just wandering. What a weird fucking thing to just stand there while the song plays. You can all jerk off all in my tie. There you go. Everybody in the front row, Joes, they all get a hand job. Excellent. And I'll just stand here while the song's... This is a long song. They started at the beginning. This fucking 3 minutes of this dickhead just standing here. The song is going... Oh, can't really dance to it. It's more of a swaying song. And just stand there. I mean, everybody there's got to find this weird, right? He stood there for the whole song. Where the fuck is this song at this point? Okay, now we're getting near. Hopefully they're getting near the end of it. Jesus Christ. Or is this the second chorus and then there's a third verse and then another chorus? He's just going to stand there. Yeah, it's totally normal. What's not normal about this? Just stand there, just shocking everybody with your nunt. And then does he do the U.S.? Okay. Yeah. Clap, clap, clap. Hi, everybody. Hello. Squirt, squirt. Right on the chin. You get it. Okay. Hello to people of Pennsylvania. Why aren't they chanting NRA?
Well, thank you very much, Charles and Andrew. That was beautiful, and we appreciate it. I'm thrilled to be back with the hardworking, God-fearing, true American patriots of the NRA. Right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning, you guys... Because I was running as a Republican, you just automatically follow me, and it's the easiest endorsement to get. All I got to do is sign a bill that says people who are mentally insane can still buy guns even when they're out on bail for domestic violence, and they might kill your wife, your sister, your ex-girlfriend, your daughter, whatever. As long as that's fine with me, you fuckers will always show up.
For 4 incredible years, it was my honor to be the best friend gun owners have ever had in the White House by far.
Also, why?
Now I stand before you with a very simple promise. Your Second Amendment will always be safe with me as your president. When I'm back in the
As long as you're insane, anyways. Like, everybody else will have to register. But if you're crazy, then we won't even... If you want to walk up to a school armed to the fucking teeth, I will make sure the cops won't stop you until you've already started shooting. You'll always get the first shot at those innocent children and members of your ex-wife's family or the people at your work. Nobody will be able to walk up to you and go, hey, why the fuck would you be walking around with a giant magazine coming out of your gun like that? They won't be allowed to ask you.
Office, no one will lay a finger on your firearms. It's not going to happen.
Well, that's actually how most of them are operated. No one will lay a finger on your trigger, least of all you. Especially here, because you can't bring guns into this NRA event I'm speaking.
And I want to thank some of the great members of Congress that are with us today. We appreciate it. Scott Perry, brave man. Where is Scott? Where is Scott? He's fantastic. Thank you, Scott. Great.
Why is he brave?
Great job. Guy Reschenthaler. Guy Reschenthaler. Where is Guy? He's here. I just saw him. There he is. Thank you, Guy. Fantastic job. A good friend of mine, Dan Muser. Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan, very much. He's great patriots, great people. Lloyd Schmucker.
Sorry. I need to hear that one again.
Great patriots, great people. Lloyd Schmucker. Thank you, Lloyd. Like an idiot. Thanks very much. Great job, too. These are
great job schmucking.
Very brave people. Also, Ambassador Carla Sands, who's done a fantastic job. And a friend of mine, you wouldn't believe it, I met him when he worked at CNN. Can you believe it? No.
Tucker Carlson is there?
He got out. He said, I'm out of here. He said, I'm out of here. And he's an incredible writer, a great intellect. Jeffrey Lord, wherever you may be. Jeffrey, thank you.
Wasn't he fired?
As many of you know, last night we had a monumental victory in Nevada. It was a big one.
Thanks to the rigging of the primary and caucus running in parallel.
We won over 99% of the vote and got more votes than any candidate in the history of the Nevada caucus. Think of that. That's a nice one.
While everybody else was in the primary, I guess?
And we also won yesterday a beautiful place, I will tell you, but this is a beautiful place also. But we won the Virgin Islands, got 100%. We won it in a landslide.
Did you get both delegates?
And 3 weeks ago, we all watched that. It was 40 degrees below zero. How about that? That's good. You don't have weather like that. We have some lousy weather here too, but we don't have weather like that. 40 degrees. You couldn't walk from the car to a door, which was like there. And you walked and you said, I think I'm frozen.
Is that how you do it? Is that's what occurs? You think you thought that to yourself? That's how you I'm sorry, what was that thing about Biden being old and silly?
It was seriously cold 3 weeks ago. Record-breaking margins, and we won, as you know, New Hampshire, we won Iowa, we won everything.
Yeah! I mean, 50% of everything in a party that you had 98% of initially. But.
In fact, when we went to Iowa, we won by the largest margin in the history of the Iowa caucus.
And the lowest turnout.
Times two.
The largest margin by times two, and still you only beat Ted Cruz by like 5,000 votes?
The largest margin. Then we went to New Hampshire, and we had more votes than any candidate has ever gotten in the history of the New Hampshire primary. So these are good signs. These are good signs.
By the way, if you don't count all the people who ran unopposed because the party was already behind them, once you do that, then his margin drops into the toilet. I'm just saying. This guy was already fucking president. Every other Republican who'd already been president who went to these things ran unopposed and got everything because they didn't even have to work because the entire party was like, yes, I'm all in on this dude.
And 15 days from now, we're going to win the South Carolina primary.
Right. But you're not going to win 100%, and you're not even going to walk, and everybody who votes against you is not going to vote for you in the fall. So if you lose 15% of the vote or 30% of the vote, all those motherfuckers are either voting for Joe Biden or staying home. Good luck, dum-dum.
We're way ahead, but we only have a 42-point lead. That's not bad. And this November, we're going to win. Remember, this is the big one. The White House. We're going to win the White House. Starting with
Big House, the Who Scout.
with a historic triumph right here
Triumph.
in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We love Pennsylvania. I went to school in Pennsylvania.
And where they never taught you what the word indictment means. And I mean, I got to say, maybe Wharton just sucks. It's a pretty baseline thing. You know, more of like a high school word, I think, but.
I went to school in Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh. What about it? What part of it? You love it like you love the Bible? Get specific. I want to hear it. What's your favorite restaurant near Wharton? Where'd you used to walk to all the time with your friends? I'm kidding. You don't have friends. The people that sucked up to you because they thought they could get something from you, or that you sucked up to because thought you could get something from them. What was life like? Yeah, in 2 Corinthians, Pennsylvania.
We ran twice. We won Pennsylvania twice. We won it twice.
Nope.
We did much better the second time than we did the first time. It's just
I agree. It was much better that you lost.
interesting, isn't it?
Yes, sure.
4 years ago, I told you what would happen if Joe Biden got into office.
Yeah, you said the economy would crash and everything would be destroyed and everybody'd be broke and
I said he would throw open our borders, destroy our middle class, crush American energy. We were energy independent 3 years ago. Now,
well, there's more oil being produced in the United States than at any point in history.
we're asking Venezuela, can we have some of your oil, please?
No, that's we don't need any of their oil. Just because they process it in Texas, apparently, that's a business transaction between this refinery in Texas and Venezuela. It has nothing to do with the United States.
He was
Boo, Venezuela and their crap.
going to empower America's enemies, unleash misery throughout your state and throughout our country, bedlam and chaos at home and abroad.
Oh, you mean like the summer of 2020, or?
The only thing I didn't know is I didn't know how bad it would be. It's even worse.
I don't know. I mean, Bedlam's a pretty high standard. I don't know. How did you, by the way, when you were walking from the car to the door and you're like, I think I'm freezing, did you not notice that you were freezing because you were being mugged and set on fire?
Everyone said I was exaggerating, but
Why would they say that about you?
sadly, as the now famous saying goes, Trump was right about everything. I was right about Joe Biden.
Really? What's the stock market at right now? What's wage growth like right now? Is it still infrastructure week? What'd the rescue package do to us? How about the CHIPS Act? How's the Chinese economy doing under Joe Biden?
Joe Biden is the worst and most incompetent and most corrupt president in the history of our country.
And yet, he was able to pass an infrastructure bill. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe that's why you couldn't pass an infrastructure bill. You just weren't corrupt or incompetent enough, I suppose. It's the same shit we hear all the time.
And today I issue another warning.
Uh-oh.
If Crooked Joe gets 4 more years, his second term will make his first term look like paradise. We're not going to have a country left anymore. We're not going to let it happen.
I think you can tighten that shit up. I gotta say, that's the warning. If he gets back in, we're not going to have a country left. Do we still have a country right now? He's been in for almost 4 years. I don't know that he's going to tack, hard one direction if everything else is working well. I mean, especially by his own standard, right?
We can never, ever let that happen.
It already happened. He's been president for 3.5 years, or 3.25.
Stampede of illegal aliens.
Not even 3 in a month.
Across our borders will surge into the tens of millions. I hate to tell you, we're already there.
Well, then why would you? What difference does it make? It's too late anyways, right? Tens of millions of people are already in the country illegally. How many people? 30 million? 20 million? It can't be 20 million, because then you just sit, if you're saying tens of millions, I got to say 40, 50 million people, right?
I believe that you'll have 19 million people have come.
All right, well, that's not. Yeah, we already had. Supposedly we have 12 in here already, and just because they cross doesn't mean they get to stay.
Come into our country.
Then how do we have 9 million job openings then?
Illegally by the end of his term. 19. It's bigger than New York State.
No, New York State's about 12.
And the people that will benefit the least, the biggest losers in this whole invasion, will be African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and all unions. Unions will be out of business.
Yeah, unions are doing terribly under Joe Biden. I know. They can't even negotiate a better deal lately because there's just so many scabs working under the table, all these illegals working everywhere. You can't even. It's amazing. I mean, any day now. It's obviously not. I know what you're saying. It's not happening right now. Right. And it hasn't happened in the last 3 years. But, obviously, at some point, probably 2 weeks from now, that it's really going to start. I mean, I don't even know why you even have to, say this is some sort of premonition. You could just wait until March, I guess, and then just point at it. Huh?
I met with the Teamsters the other day.
And they told you to go fuck yourself?
Had a good meeting with the Teamsters.
Yeah, it was a good meeting. Didn't get they didn't even get their support.
And I said, you better get me, because we're going to stop. We're going to close up our borders. We had the safest borders in the history of our country, and now we have the worst. Hourly wages will be cut in half.
Why? Biden's just waiting for the right time to cut them in half? Why would he make them go up just to cut them in half? Just to say he could? Here's a problem. What if he gets in office and he just keeps the same economic plan he's been working on right now, and it continues to grow and grow and grow, and wages go up, like they've gone up 4.3%. What if they keep going up there but 9%, and then he cuts them back, by 4%? He just cuts his people's wages. The wage growth will be cut in half, and he's still above inflation. Then what?
If Biden's policies are allowed to continue, open border, he wants open border. Nobody thought they were real when they say open border.
They didn't say open borders. He didn't say open borders. Biden didn't run on open borders. We don't say open border. You guys, the only people saying the borders are wide open borders, the policy is open borders, are Republicans. The only people in the news fucking say it. Yeah.
Come in from prisons all over the world, from mental institutions.
Yeah, the only the mental institutions that have rowboats available.
All over the world, they're terrorists. What we're taking into our country by the millions, and we're going to end it on day one. We end it on day one.
How? What the fuck does that even mean? We're just going to walk around looking for brown people that look crazy and throw them in a car and drive them to the border, whether they've got papers or not? He just farted. That's when he moves his when he moves his jacket like that. He does that thing. He covers.
Our cities have already become hellholes with.
Well, I mean, look, I'm as big a Spinal Tap fan as anybody, but I don't think any of the cities are ready to take on their song as an actual theme of the city yet.
Carjackings, lootings, muggings, and murder. spilling deep into the suburbs the other day. One of the great people who worked for me in the White House, an executive, brilliant young person, was carjacked and shot in the head and killed. And this is...
What was his name?
In Washington, D.C. It took...
Right, I know you know the name of the town. What was his
place. Name? He was picking up his wife, incredible couple, beautiful couple with...
What was his name?
Children, beautiful children.
What were the children's names? They worked for you. He worked for you the entire time you were in office. What's his name?
And a thug came up, put a gun to his head and killed him for no reason whatsoever. Just...
Well, obviously he was stealing the car. That's the reason. It's a terrible reason, but it was a reason. The idea was that, yeah. That said, what was his name again? The guy who worked for and with you?
Just killed him.
Killed who? Sorry. I know he worked for you, but a lot of people work for you. What was his name?
Our currency will be trashed.
Art Currency? That was his name? Art Currency? Arthur Currency? Okay, sure.
Our middle class will be thrown into servitude and poverty. This is what's happening already. You see it?
Yeah, totally. Nobody can afford to go to the Super Bowl. Nobody's even going to watch it. They'll be too busy. They're going to stay home and shiver.
It's happening. You take a look at your cities. Your cities are going to hell. You take a look at what's going on. They're filthy, dirty.
They're filthy, dirty, pathetic. Bleh.
They're crime-ridden.
Yeah, they're crime-ridden, filthy, dirty.
People walk down the street, they get shot, they get mugged. We're really likely to face I say 100% chance of a terrorist attack.
Great, he's the terrorist weatherman now.
You know, in 2019...
Oh, boy.
And I didn't even believe this number, but the fake news, that's a lot of fake news. Look at that. That's a lot of fake news.
Yeah, those are your campaign camera people. That's an RSBN.
I didn't believe this number, but they had up that in 2019, that's my time, there were no terrorists. You know, we had all sorts of bans. We had it down. We really had it down. Not one terrorist that they have, at least on record. Sure.
Well, that would be the...
Can't be exactly correct.
Yeah, it can't be exactly correct.
But not one terrorist was reported. Now, if you look at your numbers...
Oh, you mean not a single terrorist who crossed the border during your presidency was caught in 2019? And right now we're catching a bunch of people because the government's doing its job?
More than we've ever taken are pouring into our country from all over the world, from countries that many of you have never even heard of.
Because you're stupid. You folks, you're from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The fuck do you know about geography?
Pouring into our country. And an entire generation of young people could very well be decimated by something that could very well happen, World War III, and it'll never happen with...
Why would young people only be killed in World War III? Honest to God, like, World War III is, I mean, we've been talking about it as a nuclear war. That's fucking everybody. That's the fucking ball game, dum-dum.
Me, I can tell you that it will never happen with me.
Well, yeah, because you said we're on the brink of it, so we're probably in it already. So by the time you come in, we'll be at World War IV, right? And I would argue that the Cold War was World War III, but whatever.
Never. If you care about your country, if you care about your children,
if you care about your spine being all fucking itchy,
then this November you have to fire. Remember The Apprentice? You're fired. Fired.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it being lame, but I didn't remember it being that lame. That's, yeah, the like where you're pretending to do the thing. Yeah. I just think we all owe Schwarzenegger an apology for shitting on his whole "I'll be back" thing that he would always do. At least he did it. He delivered it like he did in the movie, and it kind of still, he was like, oh yeah, it was cool. It's pretty much nailed it or whatever. I don't know what this is, though.
Some people say that's how I became president. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah. The Republicans were just like, hey, where can we get a pussy-grabbing game show host? Like, oh, look, lucky us.
That was quite something.
It was something in terms of half-assed, comedically embarrassing game show hosts.
But you have to fire crooked Joe Biden, and we have to do votes like you've never seen before.
We have to what? We have to do votes.
Crooked Joe Biden, and we have to do votes like you've never seen before.
How? What do you mean, do votes like we've never seen before?
They cheat like hell. We have to
cheat right back.
We have to just swamp them.
Yeah. I think the word you're looking for is slab, right? Isn't that right? Oh, why won't you play, you silly thing? Hold on one second. We'll just wait. I can wait for it. I don't even care. I don't like it.
We have to slab it.
Thank you. There it is.
We're going to swamp them. They're not going to.
I thought you drained the swamp. How can you swamp somebody when you've drained the swamp? I mean, the swamp, it's drained. What are you going to do? You're going to swamp them with a drained swamp? What the fuck?
Be able to cheat their way out of it.
Out of the swamp that you drained? When people do votes like they've never done votes before?
No, think of it. Who can get elected with high interest rates?
Joe Biden, apparently.
Open borders.
Apparently, according to you, Joe Biden.
Food that costs 40, 50, 60% more than it did just a few years ago.
Well, I mean, if you're ordering, if you're eating at a restaurant, obviously, people are eating out more than they were. Obviously, the cost of eating out and needing staff to do it versus just drivers was a huge thing. So the cost of delivery versus eating in the restaurant and then tipping somebody and stuff obviously is higher. So.
Your lifestyles have changed. Who can?
They have. Your lifestyles have changed. None of these guys can afford guns anymore, and Rumble can't sell coffee. Look at this. Their own 1775 coffee, which comes with milk already in it and looks like splashing diarrhea, but who am I to judge? Your lifestyle has changed, but not so much that you couldn't afford RSBN's 1775 coffee.
Get elected with this stuff. A woke military. We have a great military. I rebuilt the entire military.
So it's your fault.
And how about Afghanistan, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country?
No, I don't know. I mean, I gotta say, the escape from Hanoi in Vietnam, where people were on rooftops trying to get in helicopters. Even if we weren't embarrassed by that, then this wasn't gonna do it.
Which is why Putin probably looked at that. He saw incompetence all over. That was a surrender, I guess.
You guess? You arranged it. You negotiated the surrender then.
And we had it not. In 18 months, we didn't have one person shot.
Right, because that was part of the negotiated surrender. We'll leave by this date as long as you don't kill any of our people. Agreed? Agreed. If it was a surrender, you negotiated it. I don't even know why this isn't brought up to his fucking face in interviews. Greg Kelly, I'm talking to you. I'm kidding. He's never going to talk to you again.
Or killed in Afghanistan. Not one person. And then this guy comes in. And he takes the soldiers out first, okay? A child.
No, we added 6,000 troops. The last person leaving on one of the planes was a soldier. And by the way, he was walking with his back to the tarmac. Like he was walking up into the plane. He wasn't backing into the plane with the gun facing outward because they knew they weren't in danger.
I could take that beautiful child in the third row. I see her.
Yeah, but I think the Q people would think of that as like, it's sort of a, Pizzagate kind of thing. I don't know if you'd want to take that beautiful child in the front row.
Beautiful child.
And then do what? Ugh. I mean, you were friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know if you want to talk like that in front of this large group of people. Like
probably 10 or 11 say, would you move the soldiers out first or last? And he'd look at me and say, I think we'll do it last. They took.
No, a kid might actually go, I'd get my soldiers out because everybody else can leave on their own or whatever. But our soldiers, they risk their lives enough. I'd probably get them out first. And you go, you're a stupid fucking kid. You're a stupid child.
Took the soldiers out, and then supposed to take them out last. You take all the equipment, you take all the people. We had 13 incredible soldiers. I've gotten to know their families killed.
Their families were killed? You've gotten to know their families killed. 13
incredible soldiers. Yes. I've gotten to know their families killed. These are unbelievable young people. The families are unbelievable.
Yeah, they're unbelievable. Name one. Name one, like the guy who worked for you who got killed. I'm sure his name sounds like one of theirs. Just name one of the 13. Name one. Name one, and then name the guy. And don't say the name of the guy who worked for you who got killed. And mix those up, because that'd be embarrassing.
Unbelievable, actually. They've come over to Bedminster and different places, and we love them. But 13 killed so unnecessarily. We left behind $85 billion worth of equipment. You know, Afghanistan now is one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world.
No, they're not. Not even close.
They're selling our beautiful brand new equipment.
No, they're not.
We left hundreds of people behind.
Yeah, but they're all in the opium trade and had dual citizenship. They wanted to stay.
Including others that we could have taken, but we left hundreds of...
What do you mean? Like we should have abducted some of the women and children? I'm telling you, you're going to set off the QAnons again.
Americans behind, they're still there.
Then, okay. They're clearly not hostages, so... What do they do for a living?
And I think when Putin and President Xi of China, when they look at this, all of a sudden,
they go, fuck. So you get out and then your country stabilizes and you have a really strong economy. But if you stay in, you keep spending your money doing this bullshit. I should have never attacked Ukraine. What a waste of fucking money.
President Xi starts thinking in terms of Taiwan. He's certainly thinking a lot about it. They weren't thinking about it.
They were thinking, again, they've been thinking about it since fucking the 50s.
4 years ago. And Putin was always the apple of his eye, but he would have never...
Putin was the apple of Xi's eye? I mean, I knew they got along, but I had no idea they got along so well. So this is... You're saying that, like, Xi and Putin are like this, and this is Putin?
Done it. He would have never done it. And he went into...
Would have never done what?
He went into a place that's so beautiful, and it's not so beautiful anymore.
Ukraine? You mean Ukraine?
He went into Ukraine.
There you go.
And what's happened there is...
Took him long enough to think up the name.
Very horrible. Very, very horrible. Very sad.
You mean the loss of his 390,000 troops? Hold on. Shall we, real quick, if I may? Let's see. Where am I? There it is. Come back, cursor. Okay. Current Russian to Ukraine. Let's see. This is that's old. 1 second. Let me get the newest one. That's August. That's the gun. Gosh, see. That's only 31. 354,000. That was in April of 2023. Soaring. Oh, there you go. Soaring Russian death toll. Yeah. All right. Well, let's. Saying poorly trained. Yeah. Here you go. This is so. Putin saw this and said saw us getting out of Afghanistan and thought I should just kill hundreds of thousands of my own people. Let's see, what is this? Number of Russian troops killed and wounded approaching at 200,000. This is early too. Oh, that's February. That's February of last year. Shit. Let's see. I know I have it in the there's a graphic that always comes up. I'll find it. But we're approaching like 390,000 dead. So you think it was smart? You think that Vladimir Putin looked at us leaving Afghanistan and said, "This is the perfect time to invade Ukraine because I got a tailwind and they're too afraid to help, and I'll clean this fucking place up."
The things would have never happened. The attack on Israel would have never happened.
They literally planned it while he was president.
Would have never happened.
Yahweh Sinwar said that they planned it starting when he was president. 5 years ago, they planned the October 7th attack. They started building towards it. They started training for it. They started setting up they would have people who had permits to work in Israel, take photographs and report on, where troops and where cameras were and all that kind of shit.
And inflation would have never happened.
Well, the only way inflation never would have happened is if we continued the downward spiral the economy was in. We had inflation because we actually recovered.
We have inflation, the worst we've had in 72 years. Inflation would have never happened.
It had to happen.
Energy caused
it was supply shock.
Inflation. We had energy low. He had energy high because of his stupid policies. Perhaps worst of all, even as they turn America into a crime-ridden, gang-infested, terror-filled dumping ground, Joe.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I'm in a crime-infested, terror-filled dumping ground.
Biden and his thugs will do everything in their power
to somehow keep the economy improving and infrastructure being built, even in the midst of a crime-ridden, terror-filled dumping ground?
To confiscate your guns and annihilate your God-given right to self-defense. You have a right to self-defense. You've always had that right.
Well, you didn't have it before guns were invented, I think, and when the right was actually established, there were no guns that shot more than one round at a time.
And during...
But please, suck up to these folks. By the way, now do you think it's a good time to remind them that they're not allowed to bring a gun into this place while you're talking? Huh.
During my 4 years, nothing happened, and there was great pressure.
Nothing happened. During my 4 years, nothing happened. That's great. That's amazing. Hold on. Back the fuck up.
During my 4 years, nothing happened, and there was great pressure on me having to do with guns. We did nothing. We did.
Jesus, I don't know if that's something to brag about, fuckwad. And that's not true. That is not true that nothing happened. You started the ball rolling that allowed crazy people to have guns again. Come on, give yourself some credit. That happened. Before you, people who were, considered a danger to themselves and others couldn't get their guns. Now they can. You did that.
Didn't yield.
Think of all the women who've been murdered in domestic violence killings since you were president that would have been alive if it wasn't for you. I mean, come on. If you're going to stack your wins, go for it.
And once you yield a little bit, that's just the beginning. That's the avalanche begins.
The avalanche.
4 more years of Joe Biden means 4 more years of anti-gun communists running the ATF.
Anti-gun communists running the ATF. Yeah. Well, maybe, okay. So I guess as far as the alcohol and tobacco, the communists are fine, and explosives. It's the gun part they have a problem with.
They're run it. They're running it now, just in case you have any questions.
Yeah, in case you don't know and you got any questions about that, the communists.
Questions. But
I do have some questions. I have a few questions. My primary one is, what the fuck are you talking about, you lunatic?
It means hundreds of more radical left judges waging a crusade against law-abiding gun owners. And 4 more years of Joe Biden means a nonstop war on gun makers, dealers, and sellers.
Oh, you mean so because people can sue gun manufacturers who participate in the strawman trade of guns intentionally as a way to dump their kind of less than the highest quality gun. So you have any gun that you see that doesn't make, it's quality assurance, whatever the company has, is they put them in another bucket and then some dude sells them under the table to a bunch of people and they end up in the hands of gangs and and murderers and the like sold out of suitcases like we're all living in fucking Taxi Driver again.
Designed to put the entire industry right out of business. They want to put it out of business. I tell you, they've been the NRA for me has been a great partner. They endorsed me early.
Yeah, if they hadn't, I'd have gotten rid of your guns entirely, because fuck you.
2016, and the relationship's been a great relationship.
Well, yeah, except that whole part where you drew attention to the fact that most of their money came from Russia, and then that dried up, and then you started running out of money again, and now they got to sell tickets at these big events so they can't pay for anything.
And I don't know what they're doing in May, but I understand they're having a very big event in May. They better endorse me. That's the only thing I can say.
Or what? Or what? When you're president, you're going to take away their gun rights? It's the other way around, fuckwad. You know, these guys are the ones putting pressure on you. You don't get to tell them you have to endorse me. You have to suck up to them.
That's actually an endorsement that means something. Well, I'm coming to Dallas in May, I can tell you that. The only thing standing between you and...
Yeah, didn't Kennedy say that? Yeah, never mind.
And the obliteration of your under siege Second Amendment is...
Jesus, that's...
Under siege Second Amendment is me. I'm the only thing. Anybody else, you wouldn't have your guns right now, you know?
Yeah, if anybody else was president, you wouldn't have your guns right now. By the way, just for the record, Joe Biden is president and they still have their guns. And secondly, they're not allowed to have their guns at this event. They don't have their guns right now. All those people in front of you don't have their guns with them. They're either in the car or they couldn't bring them on property or they get arrested and they don't have their guns. Those people that you're talking to don't have their guns on them. They don't have their guns. They're not allowed to have their guns. They're not allowed to have their guns. They're also, you know where also they're not allowed to bring their guns? At the NRA thing in May you're going to. You can't bring them there. Also gun shows. Unless you're selling them, you can't bring one in of your own and you can't bring any ammo.
They started with the ammunition, you know that. They couldn't do the guns with me, so then they started getting rid of the ammunition. People said, I have a gun, I can't get ammunition. We took care of that very quickly.
No, you didn't.
If Joe Biden is reelected...
What'd you do? How? What do you mean? You mean you subsidize it? You mean your fucking socialist bullet program? Where you had the factories that make ammo for the military overproduce so they could sell it to people on the cheap?
Your gun rights will be gone. They'll be totally gone.
They're totally gone. If Joe Biden becomes president for even one day, yeah. Yes, thanks, Kimchi, by the way. Gong Xi Fa Cai. Which, or if you're Cantonese, Gong Hei Fa Choi.
You know,
or if you're Americanized but still speak Chinese, Xian Nian Kuai Le, which is like Happy New Year.
The sad part of that is the bad guys aren't giving up their guns.
Right, but it's harder for them to find ammunition too. That's the thing. That, you know, if you make ammunition harder to come by, more expensive, only the people who are, you know, legitimately can get guns and stuff will be able to afford it in that regard, or if they can track it, they can see who's like stockpiling a bunch.
The bad guys aren't, but the good people aren't giving up their guns either, because there's never going to be anybody that's going to be asking for your gun.
There's never going to be anybody that's asking for your gun, except when you showed up at this event, in which case they asked you if you were carrying a gun and you had to walk through metal detectors and you're not allowed to bring your gun in to the place. Just for the record.
And when I'm reelected, every single Biden attack on gun owners and manufacturers will be terminated my very first week back in office, perhaps my first day.
Perhaps? Why are you going to wait till the weekend or something? I mean, you got golfing.
And every pledge, and your officers will tell you this, every pledge I made to you as a candidate, I fulfilled as your president, every single pledge.
Every single pledge.
Just as I promised back in 2016.
You mean especially the one about not golfing because there won't be any time? You'll be too busy working. Remember that pledge?
I appointed nearly 300 pro-Constitution judges to interpret the...
Yeah, that was a big thing with you, was the judge.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Yeah.
Law as written. I faced down vile attacks from the radical left to confirm three great...
Look at this. Speaking of which, He'll be back. Trump 2024 bobblehead with the fucking Terminator body thing on it and a gun and fucking yeek.
Supreme Court justices, they're great justices. And standing before you at the NRA Leadership
The Trumpinator. Jesus Christ.
Forum in 2019, I revoked America's signature from the globalist United Nations Arms Trade Treaty, where basically they take your guns.
No, they don't. They take your guns if you're an international cartel or a fucking crime syndicate.
Sir, they said, you can't do that, sir. All countries are signing that. Well, number one, all countries didn't sign, and most of the countries that signed didn't adhere to it anyway, but we would have. I said, no, we're not doing it. Even the NRA officers were surprised at that one.
Right, because they're like, holy fuck, this is the thing that keeps, like, American guns out of the hands of terrorists and Boko Haram and cartels and shit, and you let these motherfuckers get guns now? We're not gonna participate in the process of stopping that shit?
I stood up for our hunters, fishers, and sportsmen like
yeah, if you fish with a gun, anyways.
no one has ever done before, opening up millions and millions of acres of federal land and rolling back Obama's assault
on not being able to drive ATVs through the forest.
hunting, fishing, trapping, and ammunition. Obama was brutal.
He was brutal. Why? Because California rules that he had nothing to do with outlawed lead ammunition because the amount of lead toxicity caused by years and years and years and years and years and years of sport fucking shooters dumping lead everywhere.
Obama was brutal.
He was brutal. You didn't even have any guns when I came back in.
Biden happened to be along for the ride. I think maybe that's still happening, isn't it, huh?
So Obama kicked your ass, is what you're saying.
You know, whenever I say, you're President Barack Hussein Obama, they say, oh, he doesn't know who the president is. No. It's bad to be sarcastic with this group.
That's not sarcastic.
When I do an imitation of him not being able to find the stairs, see how many stairs? We've got about 5 of them. I do an imitation, I go home, my wife said, darling, our great first lady, by the way, we have a great
Really? She says, darling?
first lady.
She talks to you the same way the lady who can't watch TV because the windmills are broken because there's no wind blowing. Because they're dead bald eagles underneath the thing. And also they switched mics for some reason. And it sounds like there's a fake crowd noise on it.
But I do an
Like a laugh.
imitation, and I go home, she says, darling, you couldn't find the stairway out? No, it's an imitation. The fake news makes it sound like I couldn't find my way off the stage. When I mention certain names, they do. They are the worst. They are the worst. But hopefully someday they'll learn, you know, to make our country great, we have to have
Free and fair and press and
a
whatever.
fair and free press. It's very important.
Right. I mean, people should report on the fact that you say a bunch of shit about, like, the dead soldiers and the guy in your administration who was killed and you can't come up with the name. I think it would be only fair that they go, what was that guy's name? After this is over. What was the name of the guy who got killed? It was in your administration, the guy who was shot. What was his name? Because he worked with you and you met his wife and his kids. Who are they? What are their names again? Yeah?
We need that. We need fair and free elections, and we need strong borders. We have to have strong, and we're going to have all of them. We had them just a little while ago, 3 years ago.
It's, COVID.
Like nobody's ever had them before.
Well, thanks, COVID.
When the radical left Democrats tried to use COVID to shut down gun sales during the China virus pandemic, I proudly designated gun and ammunition dealers as critical infrastructure. Did you know I did that? Does everybody know I did that? Do you know the heat? Do you know the heat I took?
How'd you take a bunch of heat if nobody knows you did it?
Does anybody know the heat?
Why would, again, how the fuck is that critical infrastructure?
I said gun dealers are critical infrastructure.
Yeah, that's nuts. Why? Everybody's home. Nobody's in business. Why the fuck would gun and ammunition dealers be critical infrastructure?
That's an interesting one. But it worked. We kept those places open.
Great. Yeah, especially, it's very important at a time when people like, this motherfucker, she's gonna say critical infrastructure again. Explain it. Draw it again. Draw it again. What happens here? Two people across from each other shoot each other dead. Draw it again. What's the name of the boathouse in Hereford? You fucking moron.
I think maybe more than anybody in the world, gun dealers think you like Donald Trump.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, especially around places like Parkland and Uvalde.
They're in business. No, they want to shut them down. They use COVID. They tried to use COVID to shut them down.
They shut everything down during COVID because they didn't want even gun dealers to die. Also, you were president.
My administration also petitioned the Supreme Court to overturn New York City's unconstitutional ban on transporting handguns outside of the home. Yeah, people walking on the streets with handguns that want to do bad things, and you have to keep your handgun at home. And to people that don't understand the
cops did.
Industry and the gun world.
The gun world? Is that a store outside of Dallas?
They might think that sounds tough. It's not tough. It's really a survival. It's really, we have 700 million guns out there, and not all of them are had by very innocent people.
Not all of them? What do you think the percentage is?
And in a landmark case 2 years ago, the court affirmed that the right to self-defense does not end when you step outside the front door of your house. That was
right. We know this.
All things that we got together.
Yeah, but it's the self-offense part that we were concerned about.
But under crooked Joe Biden, your Second Amendment is again under siege.
They went back to the other
You know that. Biden has implemented a vicious zero-tolerance policy. Do you know what that is?
It means they don't tolerate something at all.
Not good.
It's not good to have a zero-tolerance policy. Didn't Stephen Miller have some sort of zero-tolerance policy that you thought was good?
That revokes the license of independent firearms dealers if they make a single minor error.
Yeah, a minor error? What do you mean? Straw man sales to terrorists and murderers?
Little tiny error.
Yeah, they just happen to sell multiple guns to somebody who's arrested as a serial killer or a gang member and is passing those guns around and multiple guns. It's one little line in the lying about where those guns ended up.
They're out of business. See them?
No, they're still open. Fuck. Drive through Burbank, California. It's like 4 fucking gun stores on Burbank Boulevard.
Oppose the so-called
in California.
Pistol brace rule, which orders law-abiding citizens to register or surrender guns with certain equipment. You
You mean that turns them automatic?
Know that? Many of you are forced to do it. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you just want to go. You're doing a drive-by of a school and you just want to open fire and just kind of just spray with gunfire, and your finger gets tired of pulling the trigger. You just want to go rah 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 rah. And just turn it into a machine gun. You should have the right. What the fuck is that?
Is everybody doing it as per their demand? Who in this group has done it?
No one there has a gun on them because that's the rules, fuckhead.
There's a hand way back there. By the way, this is a hell of a big building and it's packed. This is a big building.
Yeah, it's an NRA gathering. It's not you.
This is a big...
Also, what is this weird lumpy part of your part right here? Like you have a part in your hair and then you curl this little thing up like a knot. Were you bonked on the head? Is that a swelling? It's weird. It's like a Princess Leia knot.
This place is packed.
Yeah, America has no shortage of gun nuts.
A lot of people outside too, trying to get...
Oh yeah, totally.
Even outside, it's packed.
A lot of people outside. Most people in the world are outside that place. They're not actually in that place.
Get in an arena, big arena.
Arena.
And
Yes, it's not your event. It's theirs.
now Biden is trying to ban all private gun transfers in the United States with the stroke of a pen. Let's ban them all. Under a Trump administration.
Why wouldn't he just do it? If he's trying to do it, why didn't he just do it? I'm dead serious. If it's that simple and he wants to do it, if he hasn't done it, why not? It couldn't possibly be that he's not trying to do that, or that he couldn't do that and that's a fantasy and you're putting this fucking stroke of the pen fallacy, idea out there. Jesus.
All of those Biden disasters get ripped up and torn out. My first week, but maybe my first day in office, okay? Maybe my first.
You're going to have to wait because I got a bunch of illegals to broom.
On Inauguration Day, did you ever see, you have the beautiful stairs of the Capitol behind you. You're speaking in front of thousands and thousands of people, millions of people watching. But on the way out, you walk up a massive flight of stairs.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about, I said a few times, I'm going to do my first thing in the Oval Office. Well, the Oval Office is sort of far away. You have to walk up the stairs, and then you have to walk quite a distance, and then you have to go downstairs, around corners. It takes you a long time.
You have to drive over there, too. It's a different building.
Thinking about doing this. If we win.
Not going to win.
A lot of people say when. No, you can never say when.
Right, yeah. It's not going to be a win.
You know what? You always have to say if. We have to work hard to win. I don't like to jinx anything. I say if we win, we got to win.
Bullshit. He jinxed everything both times. He was like, I'm going to win, and I totally can win, and everybody loves me more than they love anybody else, and there's no way I can lose, and there's no way I can lose. And the only way I can lose is if they cheat. That sounds like a jinx to me.
You got to win, but if we win. Or we can maybe make a minor change. We'll call it if and when. If and when we win. I'm thinking about putting a desk somewhere on those stairs up. I'm going to have a desk. And I'm going to have a lot of papers in those desks, and a lot of them are going to have to do with you and what you love and what you respect. And we're going to knock out everything maybe before I get to the Oval Office.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he had 4 years to do all this shit, and he didn't do it then, but he's going to do it in the first few minutes or whatever. Just give him one more shot and a couple of weeks. It'll all be done within 2 weeks. He won't even need to be president after that point. It'll be on autopilot.
That'll look strange, won't it? We finish a nice speech to this incredible crowd, goes all the way down to the Washington Monument.
Well, I mean, if you're Obama in this fantasy, sure.
It's some crowd, I'll tell you. But it goes all the way down, and I'll be speaking, they'll say, that's strange. There's a desk about 12 stairs up. You got probably 100. What is that desk doing there? And it might look strange, but it's not going to be strange when I start signing those things. But we're going to knock it out. We're going to knock it out fast.
Yeah, I'm not going to do any of the work. Other people will draft this up.
And it is true. When the NRA endorsed me, I said I was going to do it, but I was in the real estate business, and I was in business generally. We did great. But when I said it, a lot of people didn't really believe the things I was able to do for the gun owners and for a lot of other people too.
You mean the shit you said you were going to do and you didn't?
Outside of the gun.
You mean like your healthcare plan or the infrastructure bill
world.
or even the border bill?
But we did every single thing and more.
No. You had a run-of-the-mill Republican presidency. You got 3 things through that they drafted for you, and the rest was all bullshit.
And it was my honor to do it. Incredible people.
Especially the guy who was shot. What was his name again?
On day 1, we will sack the radical gun grabber, Steve Dettelbach. Did you ever hear of Steve Dettelbach? Do you know who the hell he is?
No.
And we're going to replace him with an ATF director who respects the sacred right to keep and bear arms.
You mean that right for everyone who has lost their right by committing a felony?
You don't know who Dettelbach is. He's a guy that is not good for this room. He's not good for you. We will fire.
He's the guy who actually sent guys to sweep the grounds so that none of these assholes kill you, by the way. Just saying.
Ultra-left Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, and appoint a secretary who truly loves our hunters, fishermen, sportsmen, and outdoorsmen, like my sons. My sons love Don and Eric.
They love killing animals that are tied to a tree. Makes them easier.
They're great hunters. They love the outdoors. They love it to a point, like I say, when are they coming back? And they're good, too. They're good. If they were golfers, they'd be better than scratch. Does anyone know what I mean when I say
No.
that? They'd be better. They're really good. They can shoot. They can shoot as well as about anybody, but they love it. It's a great passion, and it's good for them.
Is it?
We will completely overhaul the corrupt Department of Injustice to clear out all the communists who have weaponized government activities.
Boo, communists.
And gone against conservatives and gun owners, and we will replace them with relentless crime fighters on a mission to put dangerous criminals behind bars. If you're a violent criminal today,
he's going to make sure you're armed like you've never been armed before.
if you kill people,
you're going to do it with a gun like a good American.
if you slaughter people,
you're going to have probably one of those trigger things on your gun so that it allows you to shoot with less effort.
you mug people, nothing happens. But if you're a religious person of a certain faith,
yeah, Catholics just being locked up for being Catholic by the Catholic president. Sure.
you get persecuted. And I don't know what's going on with Catholics, but
Well, they have their second president.
Catholics are being treated very badly. I don't know if you know that.
Are there any Catholics here tonight? Let me hear it. Yeah, Dominus Vobiscum Podmanimene.
But they're being treated very, very badly. What the hell is going on with Catholics?
Yeah, what is that? What is that? What is going on with Catholics? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
And yet, we got 88% of the evangelical vote, but we only got 50% of the Catholic vote. We should get 110% of the Catholic vote.
That's going to be hard. I know Catholics aren't supposed to use prophylactics, but you can only get 100% of anybody. That's getting 110%. If you get 110%, that means some of them are voting twice. I see. Yeah, I can see how you'd probably want 110%. You got 110% of the people who live in the villages. You got 200% of the couples that where the wife is missing and the husband actually killed her and voted with their ballot in their place. So yeah, that was up by 200%.
They're doing the Catholic.
Yeah, they're doing a Catholic.
But we have a sick and corrupt two-tiered system of justice in our country. Do I know better than anybody?
Yeah, everybody else would already be in jail by now. Like if you were a serviceman or, served in the military or something like that, or you were in the CIA and you'd done what you'd done, you'd be under the fucking jail. You'd probably be in Gitmo.
As an example, it was just announced that Joe Biden, his Department of Injustice, will bring 0 charges against Crooked Joe, despite the fact that he willfully retained and disclosed troves of ultra-classified national security.
Ultra-classified? That's a new standard. What's the stamp look like that? I want ultra-classified. Is that only MAGA stuff? Is that what they call hidden MAGA stuff? It's all ultra-classified?
Security documents. Now, that's not what I've been hearing, and he's not under the Presidential Records Act, which is a big thing. I am. It's a protective act. They're trying.
Yeah, it is. Explain it to us. You know what? Because most of these people don't know it. Tell us. Break it down for us. How does the Presidential Records Act protect you and allow you to steal shit? Because I thought it was the exact opposite. Post-Nixon, it sounds like something that they put in so that you have to give back the shit. And you're saying it does the opposite. It's a special thing that allows you to keep shit that isn't yours. And I'd love to hear you break that down for me. I'm sure Alina Habba could explain it to all of us, but, you know, we wouldn't hear a word. Right.
Desperately to spin the Biden document disaster into but wasn't Trump worse? No.
Yes.
No, Trump was peanuts by comparison. That was
right, but you tried to hide the peanuts, and the peanuts had the fucking nuclear codes etched on them.
50 years, and he did a lot of it when he was at a very young age. He was mentally a little better than he is right now. But no, in actuality, I am covered by the very important Presidential Records Act, and therefore...
Very important. How are you covered by it? Explain it, because they don't know.
I did absolutely nothing wrong.
Yeah, that's not what it says. A little more specific.
Nothing wrong. But Biden wasn't president. Only the president
He is right now.
Is covered. It's a big deal. And he wasn't covered. Also, Biden took documents over this long-term period as a senator and as a vice president. Well, that you're not allowed to do. Much of this period...
Well, that stuff was with him. He got those papers when he was vice president. He had them brought in because he was referencing a lot of them when it had to deal with, you know, deals that they had made. So those documents were from his time in office, but were not the actual documents that he used at that time. They were of the time, so he was looking back as reference for him and his team when they were dealing with, you know, what treaties we had before and all that kind of stuff. So while he was vice president, he had those things with him, and then when he moved out, all those things were included.
He was at a very strong state, and he was fine. He was probably, in terms of the intelligence of senators, he was probably, out of 100, he was probably in the 95 category. I'd say he was 95th on the list. He was never setting any records. He made recovery almost impossible. Recovery of documents. He made it almost impossible.
How? They got them all back.
For the federal government to...
How? He let them go and look on their own and didn't interfere.
Get them. In fact, he gave classified material to the writer of his book.
No, he didn't. The idea is he read segments of what he had spoken to Obama.
In total violation of just about everything.
Yeah, totally. That's true. I mean, as far as laws go, he was in total violation of just about everything clause.
I cooperated with the very unfriendly and hostile feds. I cooperated.
No, you didn't. You lied.
Far more than Biden did.
No, you actually hid the shit in your office.
Who sent records to Chinatown and shipped them all over the place. He shipped them to Chinatown and all over the place. They don't tell you about that.
Yeah, you know, Chinatown, where the Chinese hang out.
He was even at Penn Biden Center. Do you know that he gets paid millions of dollars? Do you know that? You know who pays him? China.
Well, then, what are they paying him to do? Skull fuck them? Because their economy's in the shitter. He took away all the technology they've had access to. All while you were president, they had access to our technology. You didn't stop them then, did you? Too busy signing a fucking trade deal. Biden comes in and shuts that shit down. Did they pay him to do that? Are they masochists? Explain yourself.
You have the Penn Center, right? Penn Biden Center. He gets paid millions of dollars, and they pay like close to $100 million to the school itself.
The Chinese do. They had donations over the years, right, is the idea.
And by the way, I went there. I went to a place called the Wharton School of Finance.
Okay, so they were given that money while you were there too?
And so I know all about Penn. I love.
Oh, okay. So did the Chinese start giving money when you were there? Because they didn't give it to the Penn Biden Center. They gave it to Penn in general. So it obviously was money that went to the Wharton School.
Penn, but Penn is getting a little bit out there. And
versus when you were there?
They were also sitting underneath his beautiful Corvette that he talks so much about in a very flimsy garage with one of those very cheap garage doors. You know, you can cut it open with a scissor.
You can cut it open with a scissor. Now, granted, he's had Secret Service detail since he was vice president, I mean, it's been over a decade now.
Does anybody have a scissor? I want to
Yeah, a scissor. That's what we say. Does anybody have a scissor? I want to cut my way into a garage with a pair of scissors.
get some classified documents. Let's cut it open.
Let's cut it open with a scissor.
It had no security.
Okay, wait. We might need this shit at some point. That's for him. I'm just saying. Back this the fuck up.
You know, you can cut it open with a scissor. Does anybody have a scissor? I want to get some classified documents. Let's cut it open.
That's super fucking weird.
It had no security, no Secret Service, no nothing.
And yet none of it's in the wind. That's weird. And he managed to get us out of Afghanistan because these were Afghanistan docs, right? And then we're gone. And meanwhile, you wanted to keep Bagram the whole time. You wanted to leave and stay.
And certain members of the Biden family lived there. I wonder what they did with those very important documents. But they had no Secret Service people there because he wasn't president. And
well, the vice president gets Secret Service protection.
And Mar-a-Lago's loaded with secret. We have more Secret Service. But Biden, for
more than what? Than guests? That I believe.
them all the way.
They have more Secret Service staying there on the public tit than they do members at this point.
They didn't. They're trying to make it the other way. No, Biden fought them very hard.
No, he didn't. We all saw how this went down.
And they never got what they wanted to get anyway.
They got everything. What the fuck are you talking about? Believe me, NRA has the fucking... They have scissors. They have a pair of scissors. I'm sorry, a scissor.
I even gave the DOJ and the FBI lunch at Mar-a-Lago. You know, they say I didn't behave. I gave them lunch. I said, have lunch at beautiful Mar-a-Lago, where they asked us to, do you mind, sir, doubling up the locks on the doors? Yeah, I'll double them up. We had locked doors. I'll double.
You didn't double them up. There was no lock on the door. You said you put a lock on the door. You didn't say anything about actually locking it, though.
Double them up. And I did that.
What about the shitter?
The discussions were good, and then they ended up with... And they raided my house. They did a...
That's weird.
And they raided my house. They did it
RSBN just edited something out of there? Or?
For publicity reasons. They did it
for publicity.
For election interference reasons. They want.
Wouldn't there be an argument that you kept those documents for election interference reasons?
To interfere with the election. So I guess they expect.
Well, if they hadn't found anything, it wouldn't have interfered in the election, right? Yeah? I mean, if they hadn't found shit there, would they had egg on their face, or, ketchup.
Expected dinner, not lunch. I should have given them dinner, not lunch, I meant. If Biden is not...
By the way, he didn't feed the team that went there and served the search warrant. He's talking about the lawyers from NRA who came there.
Going to be charged. He said, that's up to them. Look, if he's not going to be charged, that's up to them. But then I should not be charged.
Yeah, but you're being charged with conspiracy because you participated in a months-long plot to remove those documents and hide them, and you lied to your lawyer and everybody else. It doesn't work that way.
This is nothing more than selective persecution of Biden's political opponent, me. And I don't know that it's Biden, because I don't think he knows he's alive. But it's vicious and very smart people that surround the Resolute desk. You know what the Resolute desk is? The most beautiful desk. When you're president, they allow you to pick your desk. There are things that are very nice, very nice.
There's nice things about the president. Like, I didn't get to pick my desk because just I walk in and I'm trying to put furniture in Mar-a-Lago, and Melania just chucks the IKEA catalog at me and says, "Shut the fuck up, darling."
And they have these unbelievable desks. One of them is the Resolute desk. That's the one I took. And it had a tremendous history of presidents.
Wait, you took it?
Behind it. And he has the same desk. I think he took it because he likes me so much, you know. He said, I want to use this. I want the same desk as President Trump had, but never.
All right. The Resolute desk is the Hayes desk. Let me see if yeah, here I'll show you this. Here's the Resolute desk. Gee, who's that sitting behind it? This is a picture of Barack Obama sitting behind the Resolute desk in 2009. I guess Trump took the Resolute desk of all the available ones because he likes Obama so much. Yeah, it's a gift from Queen Victoria. Fucking goofy son of a bitch.
Has such a thing as what he's done with the weaponization of our government, DOJ, FBI. It's never taken place in our country. It only takes place in third world countries. This has never happened.
Excuse me.
A ninth world country, not a third world country, a ninth world country.
In our country before. And the local DAs are part of it, and the...
Yeah, it's all big. I mean, you don't listen to him. Just go check QAnon.
Attorney generals are all...
If you don't understand this, just go look up a bunch of QAnon.
Part of it. You saw what happened in Atlanta with...
Yeah, oh yeah.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Yeah, why not?
Fani, F-A-N-I, Fani. How do you pronounce F-A-N-I, Fani? They interviewed her. Or I would never have an affair with anybody in my office. Well, she had an affair. And they paid the guy almost $1 million.
And the case against you is strong. So what are you going to do? That's the weird thing is she could literally have an HR problem and you're still guilty. Weird.
The only way, and honestly, that just corrupts all of justice. And they spent a lot.
It does corrupt all of justice.
A lot of time at the White House. You read that. It came out last week, right? Everybody read it? If you didn't read it, I'm telling you now, and I'm telling all the fake news back there. They spent a lot of time in the White House. And you know what they were talking about?
Coordinating between the state and federal charges against a former president, which is kind of new. And so they're breaking new ground and they would have to deal with it.
How do we get Trump? How do we get him?
Well, who gets him first? I mean, that's always the tug and pull against state and federal law enforcement.
He's been quite elusive over the years, hasn't he? He's been quite elusive. The only way to defeat this corrupt and weaponized system is to defeat crooked Joe Biden, to vote.
Who?
Corrupt and weaponized system is to defeat crooked Joe Biden, to
crooked Joe Biden.
Vote overwhelmingly for President Donald.
Crooked Joe who?
To defeat crooked Joe Biden.
Crooked Joe Biden. Okay.
Vote overwhelmingly for President Donald J. Trump in November, which is voting for yourselves.
Yeah, write yourself in. They'll know what you mean.
Biden administration. Every fact government has been perverted, corrupted, and turned upside down and inside out. The Justice Department persecutes.
Yeah, nothing works. It's amazing. Even the infrastructure thing, they're tearing down bridges and roads and stuff. It's weird. Everything's the opposite. The military's full of people. They've got guns that shoot flower petals. It's terrible.
It's law-abiding gun owners and pro-life Christians, while violent felons are released from jails. Thousands and thousands.
Well, I mean, obviously that dude who was going to shoot migrants, who's a fucking lunatic, he was released on his own recognizance. It seems to be across the board.
A 95-year-old veteran was kicked out of a nursing home. 95-year-old veteran, a highly regarded veteran.
What was his name?
To make way for an illegal alien that came.
What was the highly regarded guy, though? What was his name, though?
Into our country.
Really? 95 years old. Man, there can't be a lot of those around, so his name is, what was his name again?
Gangs, the most vicious gangs you've ever seen.
His name is Gangs?
They make our gangs look like very nice people by comparison.
Well, I mean, Spanky and Alfalfa and stuff, they were very nice. I mean, Alfalfa obviously, died a very sad and tragic, weird death, but...
Venezuela, Honduras, and El Salvador are treated like victims, while Republicans are treated like criminals. We're treated like criminals, and a lot of...
You are a criminal. They're not treated like criminals. Unless, I guess technically speaking, to be fair, the people in that place are being treated like criminals in that they are not allowed to have their guns right now. So they're kind of like felons, but only temporarily while they're listening to this blab.
Other groups of people in this country. Rich people are given $7,000 subsidies to buy.
I'm sorry, $7,000 what?
People are given $7,000 subsidies to buy.
I'm sorry, I lost that one. I was so with you. $7,000
People are
what?
given $7,000 subsidies to buy.
Is that a Subaru or is that like a vehicle? $7,000 what?
Rich people are given $7,000 subsidies to buy luxury electric cars. Think of it, electric cars.
Yeah, $7,000 subsidies.
Is this the word? They don't go far.
No, they don't go far. Obviously, those subsidies don't go far at all. That's the problem with them,
Luxury electric cars. Think of.
Hold on, back up.
$7,000 subsidies to buy.
$7,000 subsidies ding ding dong. Say subsidies again. Shit, I can't even say it. Say subsidies again. You dumb motherfucker. Say subsidies again. Oh, God. I was ready to hang it up too. I was getting tired of this motherfucker.
People are given $7,000 subsidies to buy luxury electric cars. Think of it.
Yeah. Is that like a some sort of charging device or
electric cars? Is this the word? They don't go far. Somebody said, how do you describe it in a simple manner?
Yes, in deference to the people around you or your followers.
I said, I have an idea. They don't go far.
And everybody went, what the fuck are you talking about? They have like a 300-mile range on average now. You're thinking about electric cars from like 10 years ago.
Doesn't sound very glamorous, but it happens to be true. When I was in Iowa, I told you 40 degrees below zero. There were so many cars in the road. I said, boy, there are a lot of cars out here. No, these are cars because electric cars don't work in very cold weather. So I would say 40 degrees below zero is a fine test. And I came back with a...
By the way, for the record, this motherfucker can't drive a car and doesn't realize, like a lot of us, that a lot of times your car won't start in the cold. Period. Not just electric. Just like a lot of... They all have electric starters. Modern cars have electric starters. They have the same issue. That's why they have like... Cars now have like warm-up available to them, like from you can do it from your phone and shit like that. And then, of course, if you plug your car in, it will start because of that, and there you go.
Result, they don't work in cold weather, that's right. But they do it using money stolen from middle class.
Yes, by the way, his golf carts are all electric.
Class families who cannot afford to buy a car for themselves.
I wonder when, this is a good question, I wonder when he updated all the Mar-a-Lago golf carts and the Bedminster golf carts. Because there was a turnover. They used to be like, they used to run on these like shitty old like electric go-kart engines, right? And then they changed them all to electric at some point. I wonder when the big decision, when he signed off on that shit.
The whole electric car thing is crazy.
Diesel cars need electric heaters in the winter. Yeah, it's not that weird.
Crazy. It's crazy. Everybody should have the right to buy an electric car. But, we have liquid gold under our feet more than any other country. We can have combustion. We can have combustion.
Yes, that's true. Things can catch fire. It is.
Combustion engines.
We do have combustion engines.
Hybrids. Hybrids are actually pretty good, the combination of both.
Is that what a hybrid is? Thanks.
But all electric, unless you're going to go very short distances, I wouldn't want to go long.
You can't, according to Stormy, so I wouldn't worry about it.
I wouldn't want to go long.
You're not going to go long. You can't even drive a car at all, dummy.
And we're going to drill, baby, drill. That's what we're going to do. We're going to drill, baby, drill.
We're going to drill. That's what we're going to do. We're going to drill.
We'll drill, babe. Thank you very much.
He's reminded me of the saying that we're going to.
That's what we're going to do.
That's what we're going to do.
Didn't want to go long. And we're going to drill, baby, drill. That's what we're going to do. We're going to drill, baby, drill.
We're going to drill.
We'll drill, babe. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was very nice. Yeah.
Thank you for yelling, drill, baby, drill. That's is this Sarah Palin here? Fuck her.
That's a good voice. No, we're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get our prices down. We had gasoline at numbers that you hadn't seen in 25 years.
Because no one was driving.
We were selling.
Same shit.
We were doing so incredible. We were
doing so incredible. The gas was so cheap when no one was driving.
Had a country that was doing so well as it was during the Trump 4 years, which is why we're.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you take out COVID entirely and you pay no attention to the last 4 years of the Obama administration and of course, a myriad of times, I guess 80s into the early 90s, mid 90s, the surplus that Clinton had when he left office. I mean, there's obviously.
Which is why we're leading in the polls. We're leading everybody. We're leading. I think the Republican primary is essentially over. That's what I hear.
That's what you hear.
We'll go to South Carolina. We're going to do great in South Carolina.
But everybody who votes for her is never going to vote for you.
We're actually going tomorrow to South Carolina.
Great. Thanks. Cool. Just, you know what? Tack it up on the fridge. We'll all check it out before we leave now.
I used to have a nice, simple life. I didn't have to go around and make
well, I mean, everything you do is simple.
speeches to massive stadiums. And if you say one word, a little bit mispronunciation.
Like that? Like a little bit mispronunciation?
And if you say one word, a little bit mispronunciation, you end up front page. Watch.
If you mispronounce a word a little bit, is that what you're saying? If you say one word a little bit mispronunciation.
One word a little bit mispronunciation.
Yeah, that would qualify. That's a good example. Thank you for giving such an obvious example. Yeah.
You end up front page. What's wrong with him? You make 9 speeches. I have a guy I'm competing against he hasn't spoken in months.
He literally has just made, I think every single day he has a speech or a gathering. Every single day.
And when he does, it's not pretty, is it? Not pretty.
Dude, I just came away with 3 hot audio drops from this one alone.
Not pretty. And I got to know President Xi of China and Putin of Russia.
Right, yeah, and talk about mispronouncing words.
Got to know a lot of the leaders. They're tough cookies and smart. And
the press hates it when I say they're smart, but they're smart.
I just
people. Iron hand.
I can imagine what happens when they close the doors and go into a little negotiation. Unfortunately, I know what happens, and it's not good for America. It's not good.
Right, because when you were in the room with them, it wasn't good for America, but now it is.
Vote for Biden is a vote for all of this communist lunacy that you're seeing around you with.
Is that what it says in the teleprompter? All this communist lunacy? You wrote that down? That's in the teleprompter. Communist lunacy. Fuck it. Just say communist lunacy. I can't memorize all that shit.
The open borders and all of the problems that are
all the problems.
A vote for Trump is really a vote for common sense. We're conservative and all of that. But I say more than anything else, it's common sense. We want borders. We want strong borders. We want great.
Well, then why'd you tell them to vote against the border bill? Because obviously it's an improvement over the status quo. And then in theory, you could add on top of it. You could say it doesn't go far enough, but our Republicans got them to move on this. And this is what democracy is about. We got a lot of what we want, but when I'm in there, it's going to be even stronger. Why not do that? Oh, because it's bullshit.
Education, we want low taxes.
He wants the destruction of the Department of Education.
Taxes.
Right, for major corporations, not individuals.
We want a powerful military, but
we have a powerful military.
Not necessarily to use it every week on going after countries that don't want anything to do with you.
What? What do you mean, the fucking Houthis? We're supposed to just let them fire on merchant ships? And our ships? We're not supposed to fire at these, like, training camps who killed our soldiers? What the fuck are you talking about?
The day I'm inaugurated is...
Was the day Ukraine becomes part of Russia and Israel strafe bombs Gaza and turns it into a fucking landing
the
strip.
day that law and order, sanity and justice will return back to the United States of America.
And by that, I mean vigilante randos shooting up people because they look at them.
On day one, we will seal the border and stop the invasion of America. We're being invaded just
Really? Did you see the convoy footage? Because not so
like
much.
it's a military invasion.
Yeah, but with like toddlers and women and yeah, people with pink backpacks and stuff. It's not, I mean, it's not the military I pictured, but sure. Maybe they have a woke military. Maybe that's it. Maybe we need a woke military because you got to fight fire with fire. So maybe that's what's happening. Just like family units and women and guys with pink backpacks and stuff. And that's their woke military. We've got to answer to this fucking.
No difference. You know, we are
stupid, ridiculous, crazy.
We are losing, in my opinion, 350,000 people a year to fentanyl.
Why?
There's no war for the most part.
Except for Russia's?
Where you're going to lose that many soldiers.
Well, tell that to Vladimir Putin. He's sharp as a tack. He'll know what you're saying. Just tell him, just go, dude, only an asshole would lose like over 350,000 soldiers in a war. I mean, fuck. Right? That doesn't happen. What kind of, you'd have to suck at, oh.
Is where you're going to lose that many people.
Uh-huh.
We're losing 350,000, I believe. They always say it's 100, 125. It's not.
No, it's got to be triple that. And so then when I come in, I can, on day one, I can bring that number down to 100,000 and you guys will think it's like gas prices. I'll just pretend they're magically higher than they are, so that when I come in, if they stay where they are, suddenly that's a cut.
Much more. It's getting worse, too. We had a very strong border. It was very hard for them to get things through our border.
Again. Apparently not. We weren't catching any of it.
And now they just walk through, nobody checks. We spent a lot of...
Nobody checks. That's right. Customs and Border Patrol, you're all frauds and treasonous assholes. You, like, everything you do is a fraud. You're all guilty of dereliction of duty. You're cowards and you're surrendering at the border, according to Donald Trump. Isn't that sweet?
Money on equipment. I said, get me the best equipment. But do you know the best thing for detecting drugs is a certain type of German Shepherd. Do you know that?
Oh, dear.
They are unbelievable.
Quite believable.
There's no machine that costs $2 million each that can even come close. So I love those dogs. I think they're great. You can't get away with it. I mean, they put
apparently you can.
them in their cylinders of a gas car. They don't have.
I'm sorry. They put the dogs where?
With it. I mean, they put them in their cylinders of a gas car. They don't have cylinders in the electric cars too much, but they put them in hubcaps.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. So that's nice. So electric cars make it harder to smuggle fentanyl. Reason enough to have.
They put them in places. I always say, you know, I've seen the way they bring them in.
He's talking about fentanyl, not dogs, right?
If they would devote that genius to making money legitimately, they'd be very wealthy people.
They are very wealthy people.
But what they do is incredible. But the best thing you have is a certain type of German Shepherd. It's unbelievable.
So what the cartels do in smuggling fentanyl into the country is incredible? Good. Okay, I just want to know what the standard for incredible is when you say other people are incredible and they're incredible. That's your standard.
They go right up to it. They say, that's it. They point to it.
Wait, these dogs can talk?
You take off the hubcap and stuff pours out. You say, hey.
You say, hey. Is that what you say? What does the dog say? That's what I want to know. But you know, it's a great story. You say, hey, what is this? What do we have here? Why am I suddenly talking like the anteater? And the old, I don't know. Who put this thing in the... Don't you know I've got this dog? This dog can smell it all. What do you... Oi! You put it right in the hubcap like an idiot. What happens if you hubcap? What if you're in a small fender bender? Then everybody's all... Oi!
We worked.
Everybody's high. Nobody can fill out the paperwork. The cops show up. Oi! Tell them, Sparky. Oi!
Hard on it, and we had it way down, and now it's coming in at a level of 10 times more what it was 4 years ago. 10
No, it isn't.
times more. Many people.
No, they're catching 10 times more. Doesn't mean it's getting in. That's the opposite of getting
dying
in.
fentanyl. And I had to deal with President Xi that he was going to give the maximum penalty for sending fentanyl to the United States. I had
Really? What was the maximum penalty for sending the Wuhan virus here?
that deal.
Uh-huh.
Because he understood tariffs. I charged him massive hundreds of millions of dollars China paid to the United States.
Dyna dollars? Are those, is that some reference?
Him massive hundreds of millions of dollars.
Dyna dollars? Diner dollars? Is that a coupon or some sort of, like, diner dollars? Is that like China dollars? China money. That's what he's trying to say. China money. I charge hundreds of millions of China money.
China paid to the United States. Not one president
Maybe he means Iraqi dinars. That's right. That's the QAnon people are all clapping right now.
ever, not one president got 10 cents for China.
Why would we get 10 cents for China? What is our job to get them money? What the fuck are you talking about? Also, 10 cent, we talked about this earlier. This is his reference to 10 Cent the company, and he doesn't understand when people are talking about not being able to stop 10 Cent. They meant this, not actually 10 cents.
They're great negotiators. You know, they'd say, but we are a developing nation. Well, so are we. Have you seen our cities? Our cities, you might as well redevelop, and we're going to do that, by the way.
Yeah, you're going to give yourself real estate contracts?
We're going to redevelop our cities in this
Are we? What are we going to do, flatten them first?
country. And we're going to redevelop and fix our capital, which is a murder den.
A murder den.
People are getting murdered every single week. Many people in some cases.
Uh-huh.
We're going to bring back our capital. We're going to bring back law and order. We're going to have the federal government run it. And we're going to bring back the capital, Washington, D.C. We're going to
Yeah, I'm familiar with the capital.
put it in the safe fold. We're going to have it safe. We're going to have it clean.
Put it in the safe what?
In D.C. We're going to put it in the safe fold. We're going to have
In the safe fold? Safe fold.
back the capital, Washington, D.C. We're going to put it in the safe fold. We're going to have
Safe pole? Safe fold. Safe fold? Honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
back the capital, Washington, D.C. We're going to put it in the safe fold. We're going to have it
Fold. Safe fold. Safe fold. That's a... It's not vault. Vault is a very distinct word.
safe. We're going to have it clean. We're going to take the graffiti off the marble columns. Those beautiful, beautiful marble columns put up 100 years ago and more.
Right. You think we don't clean the shit now?
These gorgeous Carrera columns. I know all about the marbles. I can tell you every marble.
Sure, tell us about... you've lost a bunch, but you could still tell us about
But these beautiful columns that are incredible how they could have done it years ago without the powerful tractors that you have today and lifters and cranes.
They had cranes. Lifters and cranes. They had stuff.
They got them up and they're beautiful and they have graffiti on them. We're not going to have any more graffiti and we're not going to have
Yeah, no more graffiti. And if you can trust somebody that's going to... If anybody knows how to stop graffiti, it's a developer from New York.
roads that are in bad shape. We're not going to have medians that are falling down. We're not going to
I don't know what that fixation is about. He keeps
have
bringing
paper
it up.
that's been down for six months. I mean,
Ew. Ugh, 6-month-old paper. Yuck.
you look at some of this, you look at the damage,
You do. Yeah, you
the
do.
destruction, the filth,
Oh, the paper. Oh, and the cans.
and you have cars. And I wonder what these leaders
You do have cars. That is true. I can't argue with
say
you.
as they're driving into Washington, D.C., and there's paper all over the roads and
Oh, paper. Ugh.
beer cans and everything.
Ah, beer. Fucking beer cans. least it's not soda cans. It's probably more beer. Beer cans. Yeah, beer. Fucking beer.
Thing all over the road, strewn all over the place.
Yeah, strewn. That's a beer brand, isn't it? I don't drink. So.
And the medians are falling down. You know, that metal median that they use so much.
Sure, yeah, I know that. It's made out of beer cans, I
It's
think.
real garbage. I mean, you put it up, and I think the sun makes it warp.
That one got me. That one I was I knew he was going to say something stupid, but that was a little bit much. Oh shit. You think what?
It's real garbage. I mean, you put it up, and I think the sun makes it warp. You ever see this stuff? You put it up 2 weeks later.
Like they literally laugh at him. They're laughing at him, not with him.
The thing looks like it's been up there for 30 years. What?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. None of us do. No one knows what the fuck you are talking about.
Crap. Somebody made.
Wait.
2 weeks later, the thing looks like it's been up there for 30 years. What crap.
Well, it's supposed to be temporary. It's not supposed. If it looks too nice, you might leave it up for 30 years.
Somebody made a lot of money doing that. Whoever the band that sells that stuff is, I want to hire him immediately. Because
why?
I think he's the greatest salesman on earth. They're all
Wait a minute. Maybe Mike Pillow does these things?
laughing because they know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, they're laughing because they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This is hilarious.
Right? The
You're so fucking... No, they're laughing because this is weird.
little ching ding ding this.
Yeah, that's what... Little ching ding 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 this... Yeah, absolutely. We all know what the fuck.
Laughing because they know exactly what I'm talking about, right? The little ching ding ding this. It's like you put it down, the next day it's like this. Hey.
What, did you just discover some fucking fentanyl in it? Hey. What happened to the berries?
You have to understand, that was my business. I was really good at that business.
What business? You don't... What? What the fuck do medians have to do with your business? What are you talking about?
Construction.
Yeah, that's not construction. Those are temporary barriers. Nothing's being built there. You never made roads. What the fuck are you talking about?
3 years ago, we had the most secure border in the history of our country. We ended
What the fuck was that?
catch and release. We built 561 miles of border wall. We got Mexico to send 28,000 soldiers to our border.
When they should have sent it to their southern border.
Free of charge.
Yeah, I guess you had to threaten American companies with tariffs for making stuff down there to get it. Not quite free. Obviously, that cost got passed on to the consumer.
Everyone said, you didn't get them free. I said, I got them free. By the way, I used to say Mexico's going to pay for a big piece of the wall.
No, you didn't. Oh, no. Oh, no, you didn't, fuckwad. You said Mexico was going to pay for the wall 100%. And then you would go like this, and everybody go 100%. And you didn't say like a fucking piece of the wall. The fuck out of here.
I got them free. By the way, I used to say Mexico's going to pay for a big piece of the wall. Mexico paid much more than that. They gave us free soldiers, free military. They did things for...
By the way, we didn't keep people. We didn't trade slaves for the wall, you psychopath.
us because that I could do. You're not allowed to do that. They can't pay for our wall.
Well, I guess maybe day 2 you could have come out and gone, fuck. I always thought they could. God damn it. What am I going to do now? Oh, I can just keep lying to these ding-dongs?
No mechanism, but there was a mechanism where they could give us soldiers.
Right, slavery. I think they never had their own Emancipation Proclamation, so they could just give us people. We could just buy Mexicans. They could just give us some Mexicans in exchange, and we'll, I guess, you kill them and use their body as mortar.
28,000 soldiers, and you know, it was very interesting.
All of them sweaty, muscular, oil glistening off their skin in the pale moonlight.
Some of you have heard the story, but
Believe me, we've all heard the story. Everybody's heard the fucking story. We're sick of the fucking story.
I went to Mexico.
Great story.
A woman in the State Department was terrific, but she was a lousy negotiator, actually. But
someone you brought in.
A terrific woman. She dealt with Mexico for 25 years. And she said, sir, you're not going to be able to get this stuff. I went to Tom Homan. I went to Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol. I went to these great, I said, what are your top, give me a top 10 list. And they gave me a top 10 list. No more catch and release. No more, a lot of things. We want the wall. We want the this. We want that. We wanted a lot of different things. And the woman looked at me. She said, sir, we've been after that for 25 years. As long as I can, you'll never get it. I said, yes, we will, 100%.
Yeah, because of COVID, not because of you.
Sir, you won't be able to get it. And I like the president of Mexico. The former president, I guess, he's going to be taken off for somebody else has taken his place. I'm sure I like the person that's taken his place. We'll get along just fine. But I like, so what happened is I said, no, they're going to have to give us 28,000 soldiers. That's a lot of money. I also want a thing called Remain in Mexico. Isn't that a good idea? Remain in Mexico. You know, Biden ended that.
No, COVID ended, and that was part of Title 42.
When he ended Remain in Mexico, and I built all of these hundreds of miles of wall.
And the access road on the Mexican side that allows people to go to the end of the fucking wall where it stops at native land and just walk around the fucking thing. Please continue.
In 3 weeks, we could have thrown up another 200 miles of wall. 3 weeks. And that's when I realized they want open borders because they didn't want it. And they took the wall, which was exactly what the Border Patrol, it wasn't my design, it was a design by Border Patrol. I frankly would have liked concrete plank going straight up, but you had to be able to see through. A lot of different things. They wanted it to be steel, concrete, and rebar. I built everything, even the panel on top. I hate the way it looks, but it's called an anti-climb panel.
Didn't quite work, did it?
It makes it almost impossible.
Almost? It's a big almost.
Unless you're a Mount Everest climber to get over the wall.
Or somebody with a $9 ladder from Home Depot.
You guys would scoot over the wall like it was nothing. But that's an anti-climb panel. We did everything they wanted, and we built it, and it was so much more than I promised to build. And then I said, we need more, because people would go out on these sketches, and we had to fill in the...
Out on these sketches? You mean the edges? Out on these edges? Hold on.
I said, we need more, because people would go out on these sketches, and we had to...
Yeah, out on these sketches. They had people, like, walking on drawings. That's all the paper on the ground.
Fill in the certain areas that...
Yeah, you spackle it shut with the drawings.
Were hard to get legally.
Yeah, it's like a Wile E. Coyote kind of thing. You just draw a picture of the wall, and they don't know.
From eminent domain and various other things. So...
Right, this is... Whoops.
Certain areas that were hard to get legally from eminent domain and various other things. So what...
Yeah, where the wall ends and the road that he built, the access road to build the fucking thing, allows people to walk all the way to the end of it, and where it reaches the eminent domain territory, they can just walk right the fuck around it, whereas before, they couldn't get across the terrain. And because of this stupid fucking wall, nobody came across that area until he built the access road.
What happened is we're building the wall. A lot of people coming in, a lot of death, a lot of destruction, a lot of people pouring in, but peanuts compared to what it is. This is peanuts. And I got Mexico. I said, you're going to have to pay for the soldiers free of charge. They laughed at me. They said, we're not doing that. I said, you have to. I'm sorry. We're not doing it. Sir, you have to be. Here's a guy, handsome guy, beautiful representative. He laughed. He said,
oh, yeah, that guy. What's his name again? He knew the guy who got killed in your cabinet, right? The guy who was shot. Remember him? What was his name again?
Sir, we're not giving you soldiers. Why the hell would we give you soldiers? He actually thinking to himself, we've been ripping off the United States for years. Why the hell would we give them soldiers to protect their border? We're not doing that. We want them out of Mexico, these people that are coming up. A lot of criminals, a lot of bad people are coming through.
Well, then why not block your southern border since they're coming in that way?
So I said, no, you're giving it to us, 100%. No, sir, I'm not giving it to you. I said, listen, 100% that you're giving it to me. We're not giving it to you, sir. You're giving it to us. He goes,
this whole argument never happened.
There's no way. I go, way.
Again, fucking fantasy.
And so we left it. And I said, here's the story. You're going to give us every one of these items. I have 10 items, and remain in Mexico is a big one, but no more catch and release. We call it catch and release in Mexico. We had catch and release in the United States. We catch a criminal, and we release the criminal in the United States. What the hell? And then we say, come back in 6 years for a court case. Only the...
Well, the New Deal would eliminate that and also give people, it would be 90 days or you're automatically revoked. And it would provide everybody with, a more distinct date and more proof needed to qualify under asylum.
The really dumb ones came back. Most of them that was it.
The really dumb ones are the ones who want to be citizens. Nice.
They were in our country. We had them. But some really dumb ones came back. I'm here to go through a court case. Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Right. The person who wants to honor the rules of the United States. Those are the dumb ones, according to this fuckhead.
What happened is I said, no, you're going to give it to us. So he said, why are you so confident that I'm going to give it to you? I said, here's why. Because I have before me a document, and I'm signing it now. And if you don't give us 28,000 soldiers immediately to protect our border from people pouring into our country, I am going to charge you a 25% tariff on every single thing you make, including all of the cars, because you stole, they stole 32% of our car industry, by the way, in case you don't know.
Well, no, I mean, those are American companies.
And every car made in Mexico that gets sold in the United States is
by an American company.
It's going to have a 25% tariff. And
you mean like Chevys and Fords and Chryslers and those GMC?
If it doesn't take place within a month, it's going to go to 50% and then 75%.
And then the car industries were like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
And he said, sir, may I please take 5 minutes and call my president? I said, you may. He comes back. Sir, it would be a great honor to supply you with 28,000. It would be my honor, sir.
Gibberish.
It would be my honor. And we had a great relationship with Mexico, and we had
that was based on extortion, bribery, and threats. It's a great relationship. It's not unlike his relationship with his ex-wives. Hold on one second. See what we get for the ruling. Okay. So far, in the fact check of this, it seems like it would be something very easy to reaffirm. But did Donald Trump get 28,000 Mexican soldiers to police the border, especially the southern border? First of all, no. They've got it as unconfirmed. But this is the immigration to the Mexican border in the U.S. remains a policy focus for Washington, with the White House introducing new plans to defer unlawful crossings. Despite pushback from some Democrats, the traditional area of conservative support is also among a range of claims that Donald Trump mentioned when he moved forward in 2024, recalling his time in office. The former president also mentioned the negotiation with the Mexican government, where he claimed he managed to secure thousands of Mexican soldiers. A YouTube video posted on January 28, 2023 shows him saying, the strongest border, by the way, how important is that? Strongest border in history. We built hundreds and hundreds of miles of wall. We got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers free. Okay, the facts. This is a figure that Trump has quoted before in reference to a trade and security agreement signed between the U.S. and Mexico in 2019. The agreement states that Mexico will take unprecedented steps to increase enforcement to curb irregular migration following threats by Trump to impose new tariffs on Mexican imports. Mexico also agreed to what was known as the Remain in Mexico policy, which required asylum seekers to wait their claims to be processed in Mexico rather than the U.S. At an April 2022 rally in Delaware, Trump referenced both the border agreement and the Remain in Mexico, erroneously stay in Mexico, alleging to have demanded from the country's highest representative under Mexican President Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador 28,000 troops, claiming to, quote, the Mexican representative, we're not going to give you these 28,000 for free. It's the same fucking story. I said, yes, you are, because now it's Friday and we're going to do this thing. And every other project you sell by Monday morning at 8:00. And he looked at me, sir, it would be an honor to have 28,000 soldiers in Mexico stay and honored to have stay in freaking Mexico. Trump then went on to say the U.S. government managed to retain the 28,000 soldiers for 2 years after the agreement, which would be into 2021, I guess. The 2019 agreement did not set out figures detailing troop members along the border and stated the majority would be deployed throughout Mexico, giving priority to its southern border with Guatemala. In a report by the Migration Policy Institute think tank, which assessed the agreement, the White House reported that while 25,000 troops in a new National Guard were created since the tariff agreement, 10,000 were positioned along the southern border of Mexico to Guatemala. These figures weren't taken from a since-deleted 2019 White House press briefings. An archive copy, quoting former acting commissioner of Customs and Border Patrol Mark Morgan, stated, in addition, since June, Mexico has deployed thousands of troops. Well, look. We've created a number of National Guard within their. We've created a new National Guard within their country. They've created it. 10,000 troops to the southern border, 15,000 troops to the northern border, while the United States, again, unprecedented support and cooperation with Mexico. The latter figure was also quoted separately by the Mexican government. The head of the Mexican Army, Luis Crescencio Sandoval, said it had deployed nearly 15,000 units towards the U.S. border, partly consistent with the statement from Morgan. According to a report by Reuters dated June 25th, 2019, Sandoval said there was a total deployment of 14,000, almost 15,000 units between the National Guard and the Army in the north of Mexico. Not on the border, in the north of Mexico. Sandoval said the southern Mexico-Guatemala border had a deployment of 6,500 troops. Per the report, that would be a combined total of around 21,000 across the border of the north and southern Mexican borders. MPI did not report that 28,000 troops were sent to the Mexico's borders, and Newsweek could not find any publicly available data which shows that that many troops were deployed either. It's possible between 2019 and the end of Trump's presidency, further troops may have been deployed to help guard the Mexican borders, putting the total at 28,000, but there is no clear verifiable data to support that conclusion. The number of Trump was quoted isn't entirely consistent either. At a visit to Otay Mesa border wall site in San Diego in September 2019, he put the number 27,000. As you know, right now we have 27,000 soldiers, so in addition to the wall, we had the soldiers. Although not addressing the 28,000 claim directly, a 2022 article by Spanish-language newspaper El País said that Mexican President Obrador had dismissed comments Trump made discussing the agreement. Mexico isn't being talked about anymore in the United States, and it is important that we Mexicans know why. This year, there are going to be elections in the United States, and both parties are trying to put Mexico on the topic of debate. We are not going to allow any party, any candidate to use Mexico as a piñata. So the ruling is unverified, is where they come. Trump has claimed that Mexico deployed 20,000 troops to this end. Figures from the U.S. government state that Mexico sent 10,000 troops to its U.S. border, another 15 sent to the southern border of Guatemala, which is around 25,000, in the formation of their own National Guard. But separate figures from Mexico said 6,500 were deployed and nearly 15 to the U.S. border, a total of around 21,500. As it stands, there's an inconsistency between the numbers. Based on the evidence so far, Newsweek currently rates the 28,000 as unverified. But let's be abundantly clear. We didn't have 28,000. Nobody says there were 28,000 at the northern border of their country and our southern border.
Safest border we've ever had in this country.
Thanks to COVID.
Ever had. And then as the wall got built longer and longer, but we could have added another 200 miles and they didn't want to do it. And then they ended up selling.
Yeah, but that whole eminent domain and native land thing.
That expensive wall, very expensive. They sold it for 5 cents and 10 cents on the dollar for scrap. And that's when I said, these people really want open borders. It's not even believable.
Right, it's not believable because this was stuff that was supposed to be, they weren't going to use eminent domain to continue the wall and build more access road, which would allow people to go even further.
But we did a hell of a job, I'll tell you, and we'll do it again, and we're going to do it again. Bigger, better, stronger than ever before. It's all going to happen. It's all going to happen. And
yeah, in like 2 weeks.
We have no choice.
Yeah, you have no choice. You're going to actually have to do it this time instead of just talk about it. I guess so.
And if we don't get elected, we have no country any longer. I really believe that these...
Well, yeah, you guys, you and your family are probably going to have to flee, I guess. What other choice are you going to have? You're going to be a man without a country, probably.
People, they're crazy. These people, what they're doing to our country is insane. You have to see some of the people coming into our country these are hardened criminals.
Sure.
These are hard, tough,
sweaty, oiled up, muscular, probably tattoos, penis piercings. Yeah, go ahead.
they're prisoners. They make our prisoners look like very nice people. Okay.
No, they don't. No, our prisoners look. We have a lot of prisoners that are really fucked up. Yeah, a lot of face tattoos, a lot of murderers.
Okay, these are hardened criminals are coming into our country, and now you're seeing the problem. You saw where they beat the hell out of 2 police officers.
Well, no, they didn't actually. They tried. They kicked them. They did all kinds of stuff, and they're going to jail for it. Even Alvin Bragg is looking at putting him behind bars. Mr. Let Him Go Free, let him go, is locking him up. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that how quickly they turn? And meanwhile, these guys kicked police officers in the neck and head and stuff, and the cops had minor injuries.
In New York City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
And then the DA said, let them go. That's okay. But he goes after Trump.
Right, but you're walking around. Both of you are out while pending trial. Just saying. Sorry. Let's see. New police. Let me see. Yeah, here you go. 7 people indicted in connection with assault on New York police officers outside migrant shelter. Indictments came in to draw attention to the migrants because they were released last bail. Yorman, Reverend Darwin, Andre Gomez Isgiel, Kelvin Servita Orocha, and Yohenry Brito were charged with 2 counts of second-degree assault. Where a group of people pushed, struggled with, grabbed, or kicked 2 officers. The officers tried to arrest someone. Brito and the 5th man, Wilson Juarez, are each charged with 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. Brito's also charged with a count of hindering prosecution in 3rd degree, because did he get him all the bus tickets to get the fuck out of town? 2 officers sustained minor injuries and were treated at the scene. They did not get the hell kicked out of them. Not for trying. Believe me, these assholes tried to kill these cops. They were trying to kick them in the head. They were trying to kick them in the neck. They were trying to kill these police officers. However, as hardened as these criminals are, the one thing about hardened criminals from, I guess, these countries is that they have very soft feet. That must be the story. I guess that's what happened. When is this? Oh, you fucker. All right, I'm kind of done anyways. Are we done with this asshole? Because I got to go. I got to call my mom back. Gee whiz. And by the way, thank you so much, chat room. I will see you guys tomorrow. I got to get in the car and drive to LA, and then I've got radio in the morning. I'll do it from there. And then, yes, I will call. Also, Jessica Tarla from Fox. We should get Jessica on, absolutely. And by the way, happy birthday, Kelly Berglund, too, while I'm at it. I'm getting my phone ready to call my mom as soon as I hang up. So with you guys. So Kelly Berglund played my daughter on Lab Rats, and she's a wonderful and talented and funny and smart girl, and I wish her all the best in the whole wide world. And yeah, she's just great. Terrific. So, and the rest of you have a beautiful night, and I'll talk to you later, and beware of the kidney. Don't say I didn't warn you.